So we will be singing a beautiful song that glorifies Krishna, his abode, which is Vrindaban, and his associates. I will sing the lines and then you can repeat after me. Jayo Radhe, Jayo Krishna, Jayo Vrindavan, Jayo Radhe, Jayo Krishna, Jayo Vrindavan, Shri Govinda Gopi Natha Madana Mohan, Shri Govinda Shri Govinda Gopi Natha Madana Mohan, Shyama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan, Shyama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan, Kalindi Jamuna Jaya Jaya Mahava, Kalindi Jaya Deshi Ghat Vamshi Vata Dvadasha Kanana, Deshi Ghat Vamshi Vata Dvadasha Kanana, Jaha Sab Leela Koilo Shri Nanda Nanda, Jaha Sab Leela Koilo Shri Nanda Nanda, Shri Nanda Yashoda Jaya Jaya Gopagana, Shri Damadi Jaya Jaya Dhenu Vatsaga, जय वृषभानु जय कीर्तिदा सुंदरी जय जय पौर्णमासी जयाभिरनागरी जय वृषभानु जय कीर्तिदा सुंदरी जय जय पौर्णमासी जयाभिरनागरी जय जय गोपेश्वर वृंदावन माझा जय जय कृष्णा सखा गटुली जरा जय राम घाट जय रोहिणी नंदना जय जय वृंदावन वासी जत जय जय द्विजा पत्नी जय नागकन्या गण भक्ति तेजहार पाइलो गोविंद चरण जय द्विजा रास मंडल जय जय राधा श्याम जय जय रास लीला सर्व मनोरम जय जय उज्ज्वल रस सर्वरस सार पार किया भावे जहाँ व्रजित प्रचार श्री जानव पाद पद्म कोरिया स्मरण दीन कृष्ण दासे कोये नाम संकीर्तन। जय राधे जय कृष्णा जय वृंदावन। श्री गोविंद गोपी नाथ मदन मोहन। जय राधे जय कृष्ण जय वृंदावन। श्री गोविंद गोपीनाथ मदन मोहन। जय राधे श्री गोविंद गोपीनाथ मदन मोहन। जय राधे जय कृष्ण जय वृंदावन। श्री गोविंद गोपीनाथ मदन मोहन। जय राधे जय राधे जय राधे जय जय श्री राधे। जय राधा वृंदावन चंद्र राधा वृंदावन चंद्र श्री राधे। जय राधा वृंदावन चंद्र राधा वृंदावन चंद्र श्री राधे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय। गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय। राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय जय। हो राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय जय। गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय। गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय जय राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय जय गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय हे गोविंद हे गोपाल बोलो राधे गोविंदा हे राधे गोविंदा हे राधे गोपाला हे राधे गोपाला हे गोविंद हे गोपाल बोलो राधे गोविंदा हे राधे गोविंदा हे राधे गोपाला हे राधे गोपाला हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे गोविंद तुम्हारे चरणों में प्रेम पुजारी आया है ओ राधे श्याम तुम्हारे चरणों में एक प्रेम पुजारी आया है मेरे हाथ में गोविंद मेरे हाथ में जल का लोटा है मैं तुम्हें नहलाने आया हूँ मेरे हाथ में जल का लोटा है मैं तुम्हें नहलाने आया हूँ ओ बड़े प्रेम से ना हो मनमोहन मैं तुम्हें नहलाने आया हूँ तो बड़े प्रेम से ना हो मनमोहन मैं तुम्हें नहलाने आया हूँ श्री गोविंद तुम्हारे चरणों में एक प्रेम पुजारी आया है ओ राधे श्याम तुम्हारे चरणों में एक प्रेम पुजारी आया है मेरे हाथ में गोविंद मेरे हाथ में रेशम वस्त्र है मैं तुम्हें पहनाने आया हूँ मेरे हाथ में रेशम वस्त्र है मैं तुम्हें पहनाने आया हूँ ओ बड़े प्रेम से पहनो मनमोहन मैं तुम्हें पहनाने आया ओ बड़े प्रेम से पहनो मनमोहन में। श्री गोविंद तुम्हारे चरणों में एक प्रेम पुजारी आया है। ओ राधे श्याम तुम्हारे चरणों में एक प्रेम पुजारी आया है। गोविंद मेरे हाथ में गोविंद, मेरे हाथ में केसर चंदन है, मैं तिलक लगाने आया हूँ। ओ मेरे हाथ में केसर चंदन है, मैं तिलक लगाने आया हूँ। ओ बड़े प्रेम से, ओ बड़े प्रेम से तिलक लगाने दो, मैं तिलक लगाने आया हूँ। ओ बड़े प्रेम से, ओ बड़े प्रेम से तिलक लगाने दो, मैं तिलक लगाने आया। श्री गोविंद तुम्हारे चरणों में एक प्रेम पुजारी आया है। गोविंद मेरे हाथ में है गोविंद, मेरे हाथ में माखन मिश्री है, मैं तुम्हें जिमाने आया हूँ। ओ मेरे हाथ में माखन मिश्री है, मैं तुम्हें जिमाने आया हूँ। ओ बड़े प्रेम से, बड़े प्रेम से जीमो मनमोहन, मैं तुम्हें जीमान आया। ओ बड़े प्रेम से जीमो मनमोहन, मैं तुम्हें जीमान आया। श्री गोविंद तुम्हारे चरणों में एक प्रेम पुजारी आया है। श्री गोविंद ओ राधे श्याम तुम्हारे चरणों में एक प्रेम पुजारी आया है। ओ राधे 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 गोविंद राधे, राधे 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 गोविंद राधे, गोविंद राधे गोपाल 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 राधे, गोविंद राधे Gopal Radhe. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. O Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Prabhupada, Prabhupada. O Prabhupada, Prabhupada. Prabhupada, Prabhupada. Prabhupada, Prabhupada. Prabhupada, Prabhupada. Prabhupada, Prabhupada. Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Gaur Premanande. Jayom Vishnupad Paramhans Parivajagacharya Ashtottara Shata Shri Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda Ki Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur Ki प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरी गोवर्धन की। बोलो श्री जन्माष्टमी महाउत्सव की। जन्माष्टमी महाउत्सव की। गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। So welcome everybody again for the evening session of our Janmashtami program this weekend in New Vrindaban Dham. So this morning we had quite some discussion on the pastimes of Sri Krishna and how he appeared in Gokul. So just to very quickly recap, when Vasudeva takes Vasudev Krishna to Gokul, under the influence of Yogamaya, all the soldiers, the guards in the jail, and the entire city of Mathura and Gokul had fallen into a deep sleep. And due to the divine light that came out of Nanda Maharaj's palace, Vasudeva was guided into the inner chambers where Mother Yashoda had given birth to two, but Vasudeva could only see one. Mother Yashoda gave birth to Yashodanandan Krishna and also Yogamaya. Yogamaya is also known as Subhadra. Subhadra Devi is Yogamaya. So brother and sister were born to Yashoda Ma. But Vasudeva, by the influence of Yogamaya, could only see the baby girl that Mother Yashoda had given birth to. So he exchanges Vasudeva Krishna with the baby girl, and he takes the baby girl back to the Mathura, and then once he is back, automatically Yogamaya lifts her spell, and all the guards wake up, and this baby girl is crying. When the baby girl is crying, then the guards see, they report that to Kansa. And then when Kans comes suddenly running, because that was the 8th child, as per the predicament, he was extremely worried and he came to kill it. And the moment he picked up the baby girl, he was surprised that this was supposed to be a boy, the 8th child of Devaki, but it turned out to be a baby girl. So he immediately grabbed the baby girl from Mother Devki's arms and tried to smash it on the wall of the dungeon, on the wall of the jail, and immediately, thank you, immediately the baby slipped out of Kansa's hand and she laughed and told Kansa, the one that is going to kill you has already appeared in Gokul. You are a fool, Kansa. And then she flew off from her hand. She is Yogamaya, very powerful. As a matter of fact, Krishna mentions this, that Yogamaya, you have a very special task to perform, and you will, because you will be serving me names in this world like Subhadra, etc. Is assisting Krishna or Krishna's avatars in the spiritual world, and Mahamaya is serving Krishna in this material world, the illusory energy of Krishna or the external energy of Krishna. And Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Maya Maya Duratyaya Je Mam Prapadyante Daivihi Esha Gunamayi Mama Gunamayi Maya Duratyate. It's extremely difficult to surmount my Maya. It is not ordinary. Don't think that it is some Tom, Dick, and Harry's Maya. It is my Maya. So this illusory energy in the material world is extremely difficult to surmount. So what is the effect of Maya? Can somebody guess the most common effect of Maya? What it is? I'm going to make it a little interactive. So I may ask some questions, and if you, it is not a test. Anybody feels like answering, you can answer. Hare Krishna. Okay, so, okay, desires, of course. But what does the word Maya mean? And Ya is a combination of two Sanskrit words, Ma plus Ya. Ma means not, and Ya means this. So, what is not? What is not? That is means we think that this is something, but it is an illusion. It is something else, right? So, what is the most illusory thing that we experience in this material world? I am this body. That's what is the illusion, which we are not. We are spirit souls. We are Atma, right? But we are thinking, I am this body because I was born in India. Some people are thinking I'm Indian. Somebody born in the United States, they're thinking they are Americans. Somebody born in China is thinking that they are Chinese. But Prabhupada mentions, Srila Prabhupada says, like just like the sun. Supposing right now the sun is about to set on this state of West Virginia very soon, maybe in about an hour or so, it's getting darker and darker. So can we say that the sun is dying? No. So what is happening is the sun is actually appearing in the eastern part of the globe, in Japan, Australia, etc. So when the sun rises over Australia or Japan, can the Japanese say that this is a Japanese sun? And then a few hours later, it will shine over, let's say, India. Can the Indians say this is Indian sun? A few hours later, it will be on the Middle East, Africa, and then again it will come back to the American continent. So can any of those countries claim that the sun belongs to them? No. So similarly, the body can be Indian, but the soul is not Indian. The body can be American, but the soul is not American. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Mamayamsha Jiva Loka Jiva Bhuta Sanatan. The soul is my eternal part. Mamai, mine. Ansha. Ansha means part. Mamai Ansha Jiva Loka Jiva Bhuta Sanatan. Eternally. So, due to some karma, we are born in a certain species of life. Sometimes even in the animal life, insect life, human form of life, and even in the human form of life, we get birth in different countries or different parents. But as far as the soul is concerned, the soul is eternal. Na jayate mriyate va kadachin nayam bhutva bhavita vana bhuyo ajo nitya shashvato ayam purano na hanyate hanyamane sharire. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2. Krishna summarizes the Bhagavad Gita in the chapter 2, and he says, he gives us the symptoms of the soul. Na jayate, it is unborn. Na mriyate, it never dies. Va kadachin, never. Na ayam, this soul, bhutva na bhavita na bhuyo. Neither in the past, nor in the present, or in the future it will die. Ajo, it is unborn. Ja means janma, and aja means unborn. Ajo, nitya, it is eternal. Ayam purano, it is the oldest. Na hanyate hanyamane sharire. When the body is finished or slain, the soul is never finished. So, what does Maya do in the material world? It makes us think that we are these bodies. And that is why we have so many complications. One community is fighting with another community. One state is fighting with another state. One country is fighting with another country. It's all based on the bodily concept. And what a beautiful spell Maya has cast. Just like, as an example, we have heard this term DUI, right? What is DUI? Driving under the influence, right? The police catches somebody and they check their breath with the breath analyzer, and they find a lot of alcohol content or some drugs in their body, right? And due to that, under that influence, the person is asked to take a test, and the person says, "Hey, I'm okay, officer. Don't worry about me." He starts arguing. Or sometimes we find that some people who are drunk, the friends say, "Don't drive, please. It's very dangerous." "Oh, just give me the keys. I'm great. I can even fly a plane right now. Don't worry." And then, under illusion, he sometimes talks garbage, nonsense talk. "I am the king of this whole world. You don't know that." So, like that, under the influence. So, similarly, we are under the influence of Mahamaya. And due to that, our real consciousness is covered. And when our consciousness is covered, we are known as on the Deha Atma Buddhi. Our intelligence, our consciousness is based on this body, which we are not. That is why it is Maya. So it is the same expansion of Mahamaya, expansion of Yogamaya is Mahamaya. Mahamaya works in the material world and Yogamaya works in the spiritual world. But the difference is, here the Mahamaya makes us forget Krishna and gives us the conception of lording it over material nature. So we are all very greedy by nature. We are never satisfied with whatever little things that the Supreme Lord sends our way, but we want to collect more and more and more and more. Even if somebody who is a multi-billionaire never stops, is never satisfied. That is the nature of the material world. And that way, it will keep us more and more on the bodily concept, on the Deha Atma Buddhi. And whereas in the spiritual world, Mahamaya also makes everybody forget. And also makes them forget about Krishna as the Supreme Lord, especially in Vrindavan, in Golok Vrindavan, where they think Krishna is just our very good buddy, our friend, like his Sakha. So you see that painting up there, how Krishna is going cow herding with all the cowherd boys. That painting is on the wall upstairs, on the wall high up there. So like that, his friends are Madhu Mangal, Sridham, and so many, Stoka Krishna, Vishalaksha, all different friends of Krishna. They consider Krishna is equal. They don't know that he is the Supreme Lord. Why? Because Yogamaya has made them forget. Because if they remember, or if they are made to remember that he is the Supreme Lord, then what will happen? The sweetness will dissipate or disappear. So I will give you a very simple example. Supposing your best friend may be the prime minister or the president of a country, and you meet him. And when you're meeting him in his office or in the public, you have to address him as Mr. President or Mr. Prime Minister. You cannot address him as the nickname that you called him when you were in school or in college. You have to have that maryada, that respect, that awe and reverence. That same, even if the wife of the president, she also will address him Mr. President in front of everyone. But the same person, Mr. President, when he comes back to his home, at that time, he goes down on his hands and knees and put his child on the back trying to play horse. And his wife also chastises him. Hey, you said you were going to be home by 8 o'clock. It's late. We are waiting for dinner. And why are you? So the intimacy is there when there is no awe and reverence, when there is no vaibhav, when there is. So the difference is that all the other lordships and the avatars of Krishna, like Narayana, Vishnu avatars, and the different, so many Advaitam, Achyutam, Anadim, Ananta Rupam. Krishna has so many forms that are his expansions in different parts of the spiritual world known as Vaikuntha. But there everybody knows that he is the Supreme Lord. Like for example, Lord Ramachandra, he is Maryada Purushottam. So Vibhishan is also a friend of Lord Ramachandra. He accepted him as his friend, if we know from Ramayana. And he had also accepted Nishad Raj as his friend. He hugged him and he said that, you are my friend. But Vibhishan or Nishad Raj never dared to put their hands on Lord Ramachandra's shoulder or give him a pat, in a game or anything like that. No. But Krishna's friends do that. And when they're playing a game, sometimes what happens is there are two parties and they lose. So the losing party has a punishment. So if Krishna is in the losing party, he is also punished. You have to catch your ears and you have to do squatting, or the losing party must carry the other boys on their back and walk quite a bit of a distance. Nanda Maharaj in Golok Vrindavan tells his son sometimes, Krishna, can you bring my shoes? So this is the Supreme Personality of Godhead from whom everything emanates. Srimad Bhagavatam and the Vedanta Sutra, the very first verse, it says Janmadi Yasya. The three words of the Vedanta Sutra is Janmadi Yasya, and the three words that begin Srimad Bhagavatam means Janam means creation, Adi means the sustenance, and especially the material world, its destruction. Janamadi Yasya. Yasya means Sri Krishna of Golok Vrindavan, the son of Nanda Maharaj. Everything emanates from you. But that knowledge is covered by Yogamaya, especially in the sweet dham of Vrindavan, where there is no knowledge. And also, Krishna has given Yogamaya a blank check that you can use it even over me. Anytime you want it. She makes even Krishna forget that he is the Supreme Lord. Because if he acts like a lord or a king or a president or prime minister, then there is going to be a vaibhav. There is going to be a distance. There won't be sweetness. Sweetness is where there is equality. Sweetness is that even if that person is so great by nature or by whatever reason, that person also serves the others. So this is how the sweetness of Vrindavan is. And that is why Sri Krishna of Vrindavan, or the son of Yashoda, who was born to Yashoda, which we discussed this morning from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Ekam padam na gachanti Vrindavanam. He does not even take one step outside of Vrindavan. So who does all the other stuff about the spiritual world's creations and the different avatars? It comes through his expansion, Lord Balram. It is Balram's expansion. There are two expansions simultaneously that happened in Golok Vrindavan. And what are they? On his right side is Lord Baldev, or Shankarshan, Balram actually. And on his left side is Srimati Radharani. Balram is known as his Sandhini Shakti. Krishna himself, who is in the middle, he is known as the Samvit Shakti. And Radharani is known as his Haladini Shakti. Alad means a joy. So, one who gives the topmost joy to Sri Krishna is the Haladini Shakti Sri Radha. Actually, they are all one, but for the sake of Leela, he expands himself because he is the king of Rasa. Rasasagara Nagara Bhupavaram. He is the Rasa Sagar. He is the ocean of mellow. So, in order to expand on his, he requires expansions and associates to enjoy himself. Although he is completely self-satisfied, but he is also Rasovaisa. And that is the reason why he makes this creation, spiritual and material, so that he can Eko Sham Bahuda Vidhati Kaman Nityo Nityanam Chetanos Chetnanam Eko Sham Vidhati Kaman. It is one Sham who expands himself into many to fulfill his own desire, although he is fully satisfied. So this is something very difficult to understand. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has called this Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva. Simultaneously different and at the same time the same. So there is difference and there is the identical. Just like the sun and the sun's rays, the sun and the sun's rays are non-different. But at the same time, the sun rays are different. So that is called the Achintya. Achintya means one you can unthinkable. You cannot even conceive it. Achintya Bhed Abheda Tattva. Simultaneous oneness and simultaneous different. So similarly, in order to understand the higher science, Vigyan, we hear this word Vigyan, right? Even in our vernacular languages in India. What does Vigyan mean? It's science, but actually in Sanskrit, the mul artha or the main meaning is Vishesha Gyan iti Vigyan. So Vishesh Gyan means very special knowledge, topmost knowledge. So what is that? Within the topmost knowledge subject matters is first of all knowing that I am not this body, I am a spirit soul. That's a science. Not the kind of science that we learn in school, colleges, physics, chemistry, biology. This is spiritual science, which is even higher in nature. That is Vishesh Gyan. What is Vishesh Gyan? That I am a spirit soul. Not only that, but I am an ansha of Sri Krishna. I am a part of Sri Krishna. What is spiritual science? That Krishna is Vibhu and I am Anu. What is the size of the soul? Krishna describes that. It is there in the Puranas, in the Upanishads, that if you take a piece of hair, or just one single hair, and you take the tip of the hair and you cut it into 10,000 parts, that is the size of the soul. It is so microscopic, Anu. But when it goes to the spiritual world, just like here we have obtained a material body, there the soul obtains a spiritual body. So these are the things that is called that Jiver Swarup Hoy Krishna Nityadas. I am the eternal servant of Krishna. That is full realization, just not understanding or realizing that I am Atma. That is not sufficient. Because there are many schools of thought in India. Actually, two major schools. One is known as the Mayavadis and the other one is known as Sakarvadis. So Sakar and Nirakar, though two different schools of thoughts. So the Vaishnavas are all Sakar. They consider that every person, everybody has a form, including the Supreme Lord, including the Supreme Lord as a form. And some consider that the Supreme Lord does not have a form. We don't have a form. Aham Brahmasmi. I am a spirit soul. But there is a fault in that and they stop at that. Like sometimes some students, they are happy just graduating, getting their bachelor's. But some are wanting to pursue masters. They pursue doctorate. They want to go into further deeper studies and double doctorates and more and more. So similarly, stopping at the point of realization that I am a spirit soul is a not complete realization. Aham Brahmasmi, and they say that everything that we are seeing in this world, like I'm seeing this phone, I'm seeing this table, I'm seeing you here, I'm seeing the deities, and even if Lord Krishna or any of the Devi Devtas, they came, we are seeing that out of illusion. That is why they are known as Mayavads. Please try to understand this philosophical concept so that things will become very clear. And Mayavads, what they say is we are all equal. Aham Brahmasmi. Once we reach that realization, then we are all spirit. And what happens is we are all, at one time when the full realization comes, we merge into the supreme Brahman. Brahman. So, and they give the example of the earthen pot that has got air in it. And they break the pot, and that air mixes into the sky. Similarly, when the full, according to their philosophy, when the soul is realized as this Brahman, then we are all one with the Brahman. So there is no distinction between a supreme Brahman or the little Brahman. We are all the same. So when we are all the same, then there is no question of any seva. Supposing if nothing exists, nothing exists, how can you serve? Supposing if suddenly all of us become invisible, according to this theory of Brahman, then can you serve each other? You cannot even see other. We have already annihilated our existence. हमारा अस्तित्व हमने खत्म कर दिया है. We have annihilated our existence. So where is the question of any seva? Now, the Shastras deeply explain that there is a nature or an eternal dharma of every object or of every entity. So, example, what is the dharma of fire? Heat and light. If these two are missing, because that is the eternal nature of fire. Fire, whether it is lit in Alaska or it is lit in Saudi Arabia, it has got heat and light, right? It is the eternal nature. Whether it was 1,000 years ago or today, fire has got heat and light. Something that is eternal, that nature, right? What is the eternal nature or the dharma of sugar? Sweetness, right? If you have a white powder and if you taste it and if it is not sweet, then you cannot call it sugar, right? As an example. So what is the eternal dharma of the soul? The next question arises. So the soul has also an eternal dharma. The eternal dharma, a constitutional position. And what is that? Our Shastras tell us that it is seva, service, and happiness. So only through service, we find happiness. Even if it is perverted in the sense that it is polluted. In the material world, because of Mahamaya, we are all under illusion. But even under that illusion, we find that glimpse that supposing some politician is standing for election, he says, I need your vote, I would like to serve your country. The word that he uses is serve. And when you serve somebody, even your own family, you feel a certain satisfaction, a certain happiness. But unfortunately, everything somebody has to stop that child from talking. Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, can you tell them to take the child out? Please respect Hari Katha. Take the child outside if he wants to play. Do not disturb the congregation, please. Thank you. This is one of the things that I really desist, and I have to keep repeating this, that we Sanatan Dharmis, so-called Hindus, when we come to the temple, we don't really care. It's a place of playground. The children run, and even the adults, they talk so many social things instead of paying attention to the beautiful deities of the Lord, taking darshan. In that way, if we look at the examples in a mosque or a church, if you see, we have not been inside, but if you see in the movies or a documentary, everybody is so nice and quiet and disciplined, and they are either singing the hymns in the church or they are singing their prayers in the mosque. Why can't we do that? And then we expect God to give us Gar Dhan Aave, Lakshmi Aave, Ye Aave, Wo Aave. Why should the Supreme Lord pay attention to us if we do not even respect our own temple? This is a fact. We have no discipline. Most of us, we do not respect. We take selfies with our back to the Lord. This should not be done. This place is not for taking photographs or not for as a tourist attraction. This is a place of spiritual realization. We should be very careful if we want some progress in our lives. Otherwise, come back again and again. Millions and millions of lifetimes we are born. Puna puna janam, puna puna shayanam, janani jatare shayanam. Shankaracharya Path said that puna puna janam, we are born and again, janani jatare shayanam. So if this is what we want, but if we are serious, then the few minutes that we come to the temple, let us respect the place of worship. That is my humble request to all of you. Do not talk while we are in the temple. Pay attention, give your beautiful time to the deities and see how it will change your life miraculously. It will really create a transformation in your life. It will bring true peace to you. So this is very important, and that is why we should encourage everyone and remind them. This is not some kind of a chastisement or a place to scold anybody, but it is a fact. Look at the other faiths. Whatever they do, even if you go to the Jews, they are simply praying. They don't talk about other things here and there. They don't have their children running around in their place of worship. This is what we need to teach our children. And if we don't teach them now, when will they learn? When will they learn? After they grow up, then it's very hard to change the habits. And then they will do the same thing with their children. Because it is okay to do this. It is acceptable. So please be careful. I beg of all of you when there is kirtan out at 7 o'clock, there will be arti. So everybody please participate in the arti. Instead of talking and taking selfies, and show respect to the Supreme Lord. We want so many things from Him. Oh Lord, give us this. We have a big Santa Claus list. But what are we doing for Him? We cannot even stand in silence for 5 minutes and pray to Him for the right thing, which is pure bhakti. So anyway, coming back to the topic, where was I? I was talking about Yogamaya and Mahamaya. So, and we were talking about two schools of thought, the Mayavadis and the Vaishnavas. So the Vaishnavas see that everything has a form, including the Supreme Lord. Okay? Lord Brahma has described the beauty of Krishna. Venur Kwanantam Arvindam Dalayataksham Bharavatam Samasitam Buddha Sundarangam Kandarpa Koti Kamaniya Vishesha Shobham Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. He's describing the beauty of Krishna, Yashoda Nandan in Golok Vrindavan. He's saying Kandarpa Koti Kamaniya Vishesha. He is more beautiful than thousands and thousands of cupids. Kamdev. Venur Kwanantam Arvinda Dalayataksham. And he's got a beautiful flute in his hand. Nandan Krishna. Yashoda Nandan Krishna. Arvinda Dalayataksham. And he's got beautiful lotus petal-like eyes. Barhavatam Samasitam Buddha Sundarangam. And he displays a beautiful peacock feather on his crown. Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Unto that Govind I offer my pranams, my obeisances. Lord Brahma, the first created being, has composed the Brahma Samhita. In that, these wonderful verses are there that describes. So those who have seen the Lord, they can describe it. Like sometimes we are here in North America, in the United States. Some of our friends and family, they have never been here. But when you go home or when you're speaking to them on the phone, you describe this country with your first-hand practical experience, right? The people, the culture, the discipline that the Western people have. Punctuality is one of them. So all these things, the automation, the transport system, the logistics, and the advanced civilization, if I may use those words, and that's how you describe, because you have seen it. Now, somebody may say that, oh, I have not seen America, so how will I believe that all this exists? Right? There are three ways of obtaining knowledge. The first way of obtaining knowledge according to Shastra is what is called as Pratyaksha Praman. Pratyaksha Praman means whatever you can perceive with your senses, whatever you can see with your eyes, whatever you can feel with your senses, you acquire knowledge, right? That's one way. Second way is Anuman or hypothesis, experimentation. And the third is known as Shabda Praman. When you receive knowledge from an authoritative source and from an authority. Now, out of the three, the best is considered, according to the Shastra, is when you receive knowledge from the perfect source, when you hear from that source. That is the best. Because Pratyaksha Praman has defects. Supposing, an example again I can give you is, some people who have never visited America, can they say that, oh, because I have not seen, seeing is believing. People say that nowadays, right? Seeing is believing. So if you have not seen something, it means it does not exist, right? No, it's not like that. The existence is there, but because we have not experienced it, that doesn't mean that it does not exist, right? Anuman has also, you can gather some knowledge, but not the perfect knowledge. Experimentation, like one can hypothesize, or one can say that, okay, I'm sitting in my room downstairs, but there is some noise coming from the bedroom, but all the family members are assembled in the living room. So what is this noise? So then the hypothesis will be that, oh, maybe it could be a thief, or maybe it could be the neighbor's cat that must have jumped in from the window and dropped something and made the noise, right? So that is why we call it experiment. We call it prayog. Experiment doesn't reach, it doesn't 100% give you the perfect result. You try, you fail, you try, you fail, you try, you fail, and then you get a result, right? Experimentation. So, but the most perfect way is when you receive knowledge, and one is fortunate to receive this, any kind of knowledge, spiritual or material, from a reliable source. So if there are cheaters that they meet, then it is their misfortune. But if they find somebody, especially for spiritual science, we are very fortunate that we have found the teachings of Srila Prabhupada through his books, and through his different instructions, as it is. Another example that I can give of hypothesis, or even the seeing is believing concept, supposing, I can give you my own example. When we were very little, me and my brothers, every day father used to say that, hey, this is your grandfather. There was a picture on the wall of grandfather and grandmother. Please offer your pranams. So we used to offer our pranams. And then we had never seen our grandfather and grandmother, because they had passed away when my father was only 5 years old, at a very young age. But somehow or the other, my father had obtained the photograph from his uncles, etc., and he had maintained those two photographs of a grandfather and grandmother. Now, if I were to simply argue, seeing is believing, I have not seen my grandfather, you're telling me this is the grandfather, how do I know? So there, that part fails about Pratyaksha Praman. The second would be hypothesis. Hypothesis would, I would take that picture frame off the wall and go to all the different elderly people that I know in my neighborhood or in my city, and go to every house and say, do you know if this is my grandfather or this is my grandmother? Do you know? So some old person may take the specs, I don't know, I'm not sure. And like that, I can go to thousands of houses to get an answer whether or not this is my grandfather or grandmother. But I am very fortunate that I trust my father. He would not be lying to me. And if he told me that this is your grandfather and grandmother, then I have to accept it, right? So similarly, people or devotees who have seen Krishna, not only seen Krishna, they know where Krishna lives, they know the Krishna's avatars where they reside. The original Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, Nandan, Yashoda Nandan, that we have been speaking about since this morning, we know his father's name, his mother's name, his friend's name, the different lovers of Krishna, the gopis, and the topmost gopi, Srimati Radharani. We know Krishna's servants. We know the names of Krishna's servants. We know the name of Krishna's flute. We know the name of Krishna's conch shell. We know the name of Krishna's monkey, and so many other paraphernalia. So who has given access? Those persons who are full of devotion are given access to that information. Just like you may find so many people that we even meet here in the New Vrindavan Dham, but we don't know everybody, right? We don't know anything about what they are doing, what work they are doing, how many family members do they have, and what is their profession, and so many other details of that person. We don't know that. But once you become friends with somebody, then that information is revealed. What do you do? Okay, I'm like this. I'm a professor, or I am an IT specialist, or I am an engineer, etc. And this is my son, and this is my daughter, and this is my father. That introduction is made. So as the friendship develops, more and more is revealed uh, in the reciprocatory process. Both the parties reveal themselves. So Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Bhaktya mam abhijanati. Only through bhakti one can know me. So if you want to really know Krishna, then you have to hear. How do you take the darshan of Krishna? Does one take darshan of Krishna? Can anybody answer that question? Anybody would like to try? How can you take darshan of Krishna? It's not a test. You can try. It doesn't matter. We are not giving any marks. Yes? Anybody, please. Well, bhakti, yes. But how do you, we have senses, right? How do you see Krishna? That's what we would think. But the pure devotees say you see ears by hearing Hari Katha. I'll give you a very simple example in relation to this. We find that in India, mainly, even today, arranged marriages happen, right? And in arranged marriages, what is the process mainly? So let's say a boy and a girl have reached that age of marriage. So the parents want to find a nice match. So how do they do that? How do they do that? They talk to their friends, they talk to their family members, right? And many acquaintances, and say that, hey, my boy is ready to get married, or my girl is ready to get married. Do you know of a good boy or a good girl? Right? So they put the word out there. And then what happens? Hearing about the qualities of certain matches, they are shortlisted. Then they say, okay, we are interested in meeting this boy, as an example. Out of so many suggestions that have come, they have heard the qualities that, oh, he is very gentlemanly, he makes good money, he has got a good job, he comes from a good family, and all these qualities, just by hearing, the attraction happens, right or wrong, right? And that attraction leads to a meeting. And when the meeting happens, at that time, even the attraction furthers if what they have heard is true. But the boy and girl meet, the parents meet, and they find that yes, the girl is really very sanskari. He's got a very good qualities. The boy is also very nice, well mannered, and he's got so many good qualities. So now it has become the sweetness part comes in, right? That intimacy comes in. And then prior to engagement and the engagement period, they get to know each other even more. And then that culminates into love. It culminates into love. When they get married and the rest of their life, uh, there is a love there that is unbreakable in many marriages, right? So the thing is, it's through the ear. They heard the qualities. For example, Rukmini, right? The son of the daughter of King Rukma, right? She had heard the qualities of Krishna, and simply Just by hearing the qualities of Krishna, she fell in love. And she wrote a letter to one Brahmin that you're going to Dwarka. Please tell Krishna to marry me. Come and ask him to kidnap me because my father and my brother would like me to get married to Shishupal. Ah, and I really want him to come and kidnap me. Aparan. And she was ready to simply become Krishna's consort or wife because of simply hearing his qualities. So we can fall in love with Krishna by hearing about the qualities of his form, name, by chanting the holy names that is revealed to us within our heart, because he is situated very close to us. He is as Paramatma. Paramatma is an expansion of Krishna. Let me very quickly, as I was mentioning, Golok Vrindavan, the original Supreme Personality of God is Sri Krishna Nanda Nandan or Yashoda Nandan. He expands on his right as Balram, on his left as Srimati Radharani. Balram being his Sandhini Shakti, himself is the Sambit Shakti, and Radharani is the Haladini Shakti. Now this Balram, Lord Balram, is non-different from Krishna in every aspect, including potency. And he has got, the only difference is his varna or his color. Balram is whitish in color and Krishna is blackish. Otherwise, they're the full potency. But he is instrument in the creation of all the spiritual worlds, all the Vaikunthas, the Mathura, Dwarka, etc. Even Golok is actually created by Lord Balram. Hare Krishna, no talking. Take the child outside, please. Outside. If you want to play, please go outside. So, Lord Balram, he creates the spiritual worlds. Not only that, he creates all the paraphernalia of Krishna. So we find that the flute is an expansion of Lord Balram. This mridanga next to you is an expansion of Lord Balram. The different paraphernalia used in puja is all expansion of Lord Balram. And Lord Balram is the cause of all the other avatars. So Lord Balram in Golok, he expands himself into Mathura as Vasudev, Shankarshan, Pradyumna, Aniruddha. That is known as the primary Chaturvyu or the first quadruple expansion. Then under Mathura is Dwarka. I'm talking in the spiritual world. Okay, there is Vrindavan here, there is Vrindavan in the spiritual world. There is Mathura here, there is Mathura in the spiritual world. There is Ayodhya here, there is Ayodhya in the spiritual world. There is Dwarka here, there is Dwarka in the Krishna Loka or Vaikuntha Loka. So, Vasudev, Sankarshan, Pradyumna and Aniruddha. So, this Vasudev is an expansion of Lord Balram that we were speaking about this afternoon. The one who spoke Bhagavad Gita, by the way. And the other expansions, and along with that, Radharani's expansions in all the other planets, the spiritual worlds, including the Lakshmis in Vaikuntha, and like even in Ayodhya, Sita Devi is an expansion of Srimati Radharani. Yes. So like that, Vasudev, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, they have the respective consorts or their wives. And they are all expansions of Radharani. Okay. Now, from the Mathura quadruple expansion Chaturvyu, the second Chaturvyu happens again as Vasudev, Sankarshan, Pradyumna and Aniruddha. And they are all in Mathura. And then the Sankarshan in Mathura, he further expands into all the different Vaikuntha Loka Narayanas. There are many, many Narayanas, just not one Narayana. There is permutation combinations of Narayanas, Shankha, Chakra, Gada, Padma, Padma, Chakra, Gada, Shankha. Like that, 4 hands, different, the paraphernalia is in different hands. So there are different Narayana Lokas and different Narayanas. And not only that, from their expansions, there are the Guna avatars, the Shaktyavesh avatars, and different avatars that are there that happen, including the 3 Vishnus. Now, somebody may think there's only one Vishnu. So, there's 3 Vishnus. There is Mahavishnu, known as Karanodakashayi Vishnu. There is Shirodaksayi Vishnu, and there is Garbhodaksayi Vishnu. So, Karanodaksayi Vishnu, known as the Mahavishnu, he is the cause of all the material worlds, all the Brahmans. Between the material world and the spiritual world, there is a Viraja or the causal ocean. Causal means Karan, Karan Jal. Because of that, the material world happens. So Mahavishnu, who is a sub-expansion of the expansion of the expansion of the expansion of the expansion of Lord Balram, he resides there, he reclines on his serpent bed on Seshnag, and he actually, when he is breathing out, millions and millions of Brahmans are created. And when he inhales, all the Brahmans are annihilated, finished, Mahapralay. So, Yasva Isvina Kal Al Kala Athavalambyo, the Brahma Samhita has described this, that how Mahavishnu's exhalation is like we do Lom Vilom in pranayam, right? So, one half a breath creates the 25% material world. We are in one small Brahman. We have millions of Brahmans in the 25% region, which is all material, which is all controlled by Mahamaya. And what is the quality of the material world? Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi. Birth, death, old age, and disease. Which is not there in Vaikuntha. In Vaikuntha, everything is eternal. It's Satchitananda. It is Sat, it is eternal, it is Chitta, full of knowledge or cognizance about what? That Krishna or Krishna's avatar, they're non-different in one sense, and they're the supreme lords. And I am the servant of the Lord. My only duty is to serve. That is my dharma. So I was mentioning about dharma. The dharma of the soul is what? Anybody remembers? What is the eternal dharma of the soul or the Atma? Seva and happiness. So unfortunately, in this material world, our seva is basically towards temporary entities. Even if you love your wife or your father, your mother, nobody is permanent. So one day when they leave, your seva is cut off with them. And when that seva gets cut off, your happiness gets cut off. Right? So the happiness here is temporary. Bhajahu re mana Shri Nanda Nandana Abhaya Charana Ravindare Durlabha Manusha Janama Satsange Taraye Bhava Sindure Eshita Atapa Bhata Varishana Edine Yamini Jagine Vifale Sevinu Kripana Durjana Chapala Sukha Lavalagire. Govindas has composed a wonderful poem. No talking. Hare Krishna. If the child wants to play it, please take him out. Govindas is saying, oh my dear mind, Bhajahu Remana Sri Nanda Nandana. Please worship the son of Nanda Maharaj. Actually, there are many, many avatars, but the original source is the son of Nanda Maharaj. So it is a Gaudiya Vaishnava Bhav. So you might as well worship him. Aradhya Bhagwan Vrajesha Tanayas Tadham Vrindavana Ramya Kachit Upasana Vrajuvadu Vargena Taya Kalpita Srimad Bhagavata Purana Amalam Prema Pumartho Mahan Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhor Mataidam Na Yatra Agra Para. What does it mean? It's the same message. If you want to worship some god, so Aradhya Bhagwana Vrajesha Tanayas, please worship the son of Nanda Maharaj. Vrajesh means king of Vraj. And who is the king of Vraj? Nanda Maharaj. Tanaya, I explained that this morning. We had that first word. Nanda Atmaja and Nanda Ja. It's the same thing, the meaning. Tanaya. So, Aradhya Bhagwan of Vrajesha Tanaya. There are many, many different avatars of the Lord. There's different Narayanas, there's different Vishnus, and so many different forms of the Lord. But if you want to worship, the recommendation is Vrajesha Tanayas. If you want to worship dhams, Tad Dham Vrindavanam, there are so many different places of pilgrimage, but worship Sri Vrindavan Dham. Vrajesha Tanayas Tad Dham Ramya Kachit Upasana Vrajavadu Vargena Taya Kalpita. And if you want to do some upasana following the footsteps of some of the purest devotees, follow in the footsteps of the Vraj Gopis. Vrajavadhu. Vargena Taya Kalpita. And if you want to read a book, a Shastra, Srimad Bhagavata Purana Amalam Prema Pumartho Mahan. Srimad Bhagavatam is capable of giving the topmost prema for the Lord. We are all taught from our childhood, regardless of what faith we follow, that we have to fear God. But Srila Prabhupada and our acharyas would say, why fear God? Love God. Big difference. Fear again creates a awe and reverence. And if you love somebody, it creates a intimacy. So it's so important. These messages are not just so Aradhya Bhagavan Vrajeshvatane Staddham Vrindavana Ramya Kachit Upasana Vrajavadu Vargena Taya Kalpita Srimad Bhagavata Puranamalam Prema Pumartho Mahan. And it is whose opinion? Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhur Mataidam Na Yatra Agrahapara. There's no other necessity. This is the best that has been. And who is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Radha Krishna combined. Of Vraj. Of Golok. Brajendra Nandan Sachishuta Hoilo Shai Balram Hoilo Nitai. So Gaur Nitai also, Brajendra Nandan, the son of Nanda Maharaj, became Sachisuta. 535 years ago, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared to Mother Sachi. His mother's name was Sachi Shuta Hoilo Sei. Balram Hoilo Nitai. And we find Nityananda Prabhu on the left of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Balram Hoilo Nitai. And Lord Balram, the brother of Krishna, he became Nityananda Prabhu for preaching Krishna Prem. Not the fear of Krishna. Prem. Prema Dhama Eva Naumi Gaur Sundaram. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Dham of love, is the abode of love. So, like this, as I was saying, three Vishnus, the exhalation of Vishnu causes the different Brahmans, and in each Brahman, the expansion of Mahavishnu is Garbhodakshayi Vishnu, from whose navel Lord Brahma appears. Brahma appears from the lotus navel and in the lotus, and that is from Garbhodakshayi Vishnu, who resides in every Brahman. In the bottom, there is an ocean known as Garbhasagar, and that's where he resides. He reclines. And his expansion, once the universe is created, complete and finished, all the living entities are put back into them. Now, what is interesting is, when there is Mahapralay, let's say this is the last day, and Mahavishnu is going to breathe in, it is considered billions of years. I really don't have time to explain the Vedic cosmology, but if you really want to hear about it, I can tell you very quickly. There are 4 yugas. There is Kali Yuga. Prior to Kali Yuga was Dwapar. Prior to Dwapar was Treta, and prior to Treta was Satyug. The Kali Yuga is 432,000 years. That's how it lost. Only 5,000 years approximately elapsed. 428,000 years yet to go in Kali Yuga. What does Kali Yuga mean? Kali means quarrel, jhagda. So this Yuga is full of quarrels. Everybody's fighting. 5,000 years have just hardly passed, and we see every day, we open the TV channels, we hear about the news bulletins, we hear about even in the social circles that both these brothers are fighting, they're not talking to each other, or the father has thrown his son out, etc. So that is the effect of Kali Yuga. Prior to Kali Yuga was Dwapar, and it's exactly double. So 864,000. So if you want to just round it up to make the calculation easy, somebody take the smartphone, please. Can you open your calculator? So 400,000 of Kali Yuga, add another 400,000, so 800,000 of Dwapar. So 400 plus 800 is 1.2 million, right? Add another 400,000 to that for Treta. So what is the number now? 4 plus 8 plus 4, 1.6 million, right? And you add another almost that amount to Satya Yuga, it comes to total about 4 million years, approximately, for one cycle of Satya, Treta, Dwapar, and Kali Yuga. And that is half a day of Lord Brahma, who lives in one Brahman in the material world. In one Brahman, there are 14 Chauda Bhuvan or 14 planetary systems, also known as Tribhuvan. Why it is called Tribhuvan? Because in between is Earth, upper is 6 heavenly planets, and 7 is Narkiya planets. So, in the topmost heavenly planet, Lord Brahma resides, which is also known as Satya Loka. So, 12 hours of Lord Brahma is equivalent to 4 million earthly years. And like that, Lord Brahma has got 24 hours. You multiply that by 8 million. And like that, you multiply 360 of his days, that is equal to 1 year. And this Brahma lives about 100 years. The present Brahma that we have, our Shastras tell us, is approximately 50 years old in his age. 50 years old. So that is, that is equivalent to, if I'm not mistaken, over 3.3 trillion years. That is the lifespan of Lord Brahma in the heavenly planets. And when the Mahapralaya comes, can you imagine 3.3 trillion years is half a breath of Mahavishnu? And then again he exhales and everything is recreated. So, but what happens to all those jivas that are there in the material world at that time, according to their karma, supposing some, like if there's a Mahapralaya and everything is destroyed, there's a dogs, there is cats, there is ants, there are human beings, and there are different species of life. What happens to them? So basically what happens is that they are basically the jiva, because the body will be finished. The ant's body will be finished, or the elephant's body will be finished, or Lord Brahma's body will also be finished. The Devi Devtas will also be finished. They are not eternal. Okay? So Swarga, when we do piety, punya karma, we go to Swarga. We go to Swarga. But Swarga has also got birth, that old age disease. It is not a permanent place. When we give a time frame of 3.3 trillion, you can count it. It is a finite number. It is not infinite or eternal. So when we do some punya karma, we go to the heavenly planets and then we come back. How many of you are here Gujarati? Anybody? You are Gujarati? Okay. So Narsi Mehta has written one wonderful bhajan, Vaishnava bhajan. He is the very famous, Gandhiji had the Vaishnava jan to tene kahiye je peed parai jane. Right? So he has written the wonderful bhajan, Bhutara Bhakti Padartha Motu Brahma Lokma Nahire Punya Kari Amravati Pamya Ante Chorasi Mahire Harina Janto Mukti Na Mange Janama Janama Utare Nitya Kirtan Nitya Ocho Nirakwa Nanda Kumar ne. Uska meaning is, the meaning is that Bhutara Bhakti Padartha Motu, the highest bhakti can be obtained in this earthly planet, not even the heavenly planets. We find that where there is more aristocracy and more vaibhav, at that time the tendency to forget the Supreme Lord is even more. For example, we find that when we were in India, some of us or some of our friends that we knew, they were very religious, but once they came to America, there is no time to go to the temple or nothing like that and forget temple. Rather, I would go to sit in the bar on the Friday or on Saturday. So this is the things. Things have changed because there is so much aristocracy. There was not much money. Now they are saying 1 equals 83. And you know what they can obtain here within a few months, they cannot even obtain there in several decades. So now that aristocracy is there, money is there. So when money comes, then what happens is, because of Maya, it will influence you. It's okay to eat meat. There are Brahman and Vaishnava boys and girls. It's okay to go to McDonald's and order that beef burger. It's a common life nowadays. So things have changed. Entire sanskars have been thrown into the gutters by them because of the place, influence of the place. So even the pure bhakti cannot be obtained in the higher planetary systems. So Narsi Mehta is saying, Bhutara Bhakti Padartha Motu Brahma Lokmanai, not even in Brahma Loka, which is the highest heavenly planet. Punya Kari Amravati Pamya. And if you have done a lot of punya in your life, then the maximum you will obtain is Amravati. Amravati is the third Swarga, or the third heavenly planet, and that is the capital of that third Swarga, just like the capital of the United States is Washington, D.C. So we have that information that Amravati is where Lord Indra resides, is the capital of his Swarga, the third number Swarga, that is Bhur Bhu Swaha. That Swaha, capital is Amravati. So, Jada se Jada, you will get, maximum you will get Amravati. Amravati Pamya, Ante Chorasi Mahire. At the end, when your lifespan is finished in Amravati or in the third heavenly planet, Ante, at the end, you will come back to the 8,400,000 species of life. 84 lakh yoni. Ante 84 mahire. Hari na bhakto mukti na mange. Those who are Vaishnavas, those who are devotees of Lord, they do not even ask for liberation or mukti. So what is their desire? Janama janama utare. They don't care where they are born. Swargeshu, Narkeshu, Apavargeshu, Samatulya Darshina. Whether a Vaishnava is born in the earthly planet, whether born in the hellish planet, or born in the heavenly planet, or even Apavarga, meaning Vaikuntha, for the Vaishnava, Samatulya Darshana. Because wherever the Vaishnava is, he is always in the service of the Lord. So this is a very important concept. Most people want to go home back to Godhead. Srila Prabhupada's Gurudev used to say, don't try to see Krishna, but perform your seva in such a way that when Krishna is willing to see you, he will see you. It is like this example that I like to give. Supposing if one is working for a very big company, very huge company, right? With tens of thousands of employees and the CEO. So, we are ordinary people working in that company, and we say like, hey, Mr. CEO, can you come see me in my cabin or at my desk? How does that sound? So Krishna is the CEO of all the CEOs. So, we do not want to disturb him, but we want to perform our seva. So Narsi Mehta is saying the same thing what Prabhupada is and our acharyas in the Vaishnava line are saying, that Harinajan means not those untouchables. This is another big disease that India created, especially Gandhiji. That was a big folly. Even in Kolkata, they call Daridra Narayan. How can Narayan be Daridra? These people are of very, very low intelligence. Lakshmi is serving Narayana at his lotus feet, and how can Narayan be Daridra? So these things are brought by people who have very less understanding of the higher nuances of spiritual life, of spiritual. So like this, Harinajan means Vaishnavas, those who are devotees of Hari, devotees of Lord. Mukti na mange, janama utarre. They are constantly asking that let me be born again and again, wherever I am. For what? Nitya seva, nitya kirtan, nirakva nanda kumar. Eternally, always chanting kirtan, nitya seva, to perform seva for Nanda Kumar. And Nanda Kumar here means the original Supreme Personality of Godhead in Golok Vrindavan. That is the bhav of even Narsi Mehta, which is Vraj bhav. So, like this, coming back to the punya, if you do punya, you have to still come back. If you do pap, then we go to the hellish planets, one of the 7 hellish planets, and after some time is up, you come back again. And so like this, Chaitanya Charitamrita says, Ei rupe brahman brahmite kono bhagyavan jeev, Guru Krishna prasade payal bhakti lata bij. In this fashion, the jiva or the atma is oscillating between Swarga, Earth, planet, middle planetary system, hellish planets, again on Earth, back again based on karma, pap and punya, oscillating. Swarga, Artha, Narka, Artha, Narka, Prithvi, Swarga, like that we are oscillating in this Brahman, which is material, which has got birth, death, old age and disease. That is the quality. That is because the influence of Mahamaya. As I was describing, we were describing about Subhadra Devi, the daughter of Yashoda Devi, which Kans was tried to kill. So, like this, Ei Rupe Brahman Brahmite. We are simply going with different, this time we find some good association, some sattvic association, then we do punya karma, and then, because in India we find that sometimes people when they pass away, they say, oh he was a punya atma, swargwas ho gaya uska. Because most people don't even know that there is a concept of Vaikuntha, and there is a concept of many, many millions of Vaikuntha planets where the Supreme Lord and his expansions reside eternally with their devotees. So here we are talking about the Sakam Bhakti, Sakar. They say Nirgun, the Mayavadis, that there is no guna, you can't see, it's just some energy, it is only Brahma, Aham Brahmasmi. But the Vaishnavas say no. Yes, we agree it is Nirgun, but they don't have any material qualities. That is why they are called Nirgun. Krishna or the Supreme Lord is expansions. They are not subject to the three modes of material nature, Tamogun, Rajagun, and Satogun. They are not subject to the mode of ignorance, the mode of passion, and the mode of goodness. So the Bhagwan and Bhagwan's pure devotees are beyond the three modes. The three modes are known as guna, and they are the qualities of Mahamaya. Guna means rope. They tie you. That we have seen that prisoners get handcuffed, right? When they are taken to the prison, they get handcuffed. So similarly, guna here, the three guna, Tamogun, Rajagun, and Satogun, they tie you. They tie you to this material world, in this world of material jail, sometimes in Swarga, sometimes in Narka, sometimes in Prithvi. But you are still, it is like, if I can give an example, some of them, like doctors or some lawyers or some of them who have committed white collar crime. So they get like an air conditioned jail or a jail with a library, but still jail is jail. And somebody who has committed murders, then they get the most rigorous jail and confinement, right? But they are still in jail. Bottom line is, it is still jail. So this Brahmand is a jail. This material world is a jail. Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadi Dukkha Dosha Anudarshanam. Krishna says that you have to see the fault in Janma, in Mrityu, in Jara and Vyadi. Birth, death, old age, and disease, you have to see the fault. Because if you don't see the fault, you're not going to fix it. Supposing we are going to be sitting on this chair, and if we don't notice that the chair has bad legs on it or a loose leg, what will happen? We try to sit or somebody tries it will fall. But the moment somebody notices it, then what we do is we try to fix it. That's what Krishna is saying. The Janma Mrityu Jaravyadi Dukkha Dosha. You have to see that it is full of miseries. Everything. Dukkhalayam Shashvatam. In this material world, it is full of miseries. We think that we are happy. But Prabhupada has given a wonderful, amazing example that the flickering cessation of miseries, we consider that as happiness. And the example that is given is that we know that torturing method known as waterboarding, where they catch the person who they are torturing by the hair and they put them in a body of water, like in a big tub or something, trying to drown them. And just when they're about to just literally die, they pull him up. And Prabhupada gives this example, and then when he's pulled up, that criminal takes a deep breath, right? And by the time he has completed his breath, again he's shoved inside. Okay? And again he's brought up, just on the verge of death. So that breath, the half a breath that he's getting, he thinks, oh wow, this is happiness. So this is what it is for us as well. Achapala sukha lavalagire. Govinda says, Bhajan re manasri nanda nandana abhay charana arvinde. Please worship the lotus feet of Krishna, that is Abhay Charan. Abhay means fearlessness. And when we surrender to Krishna or Krishna's avatars, doesn't matter. As a matter of fact, whether it is Lord Ramachandra or any other form of the Lord, that will give us fearlessness. Why? Because fear comes when we are always thinking of death, which is the biggest fear. But when one is a devotee, he doesn't fear death. He knows that he's not this body, he's a spirit soul, he's entirely a servant of Krishna. And wherever the next body comes, when he's thinking of Krishna, yam yam vapi smaranam bhavam trajeti ante kalivaram. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that whatever the consciousness of a person is at the time of death, they will obtain a certain body based on that. And one who thinks of me will come to me. So that is the reason some people may argue, oh, this is great, you Hare Krishna people are so nice. You have given us the formula. So we will do anything we want for the rest of our lives, and when we are dying, we will say Hare Krishna, or we will say Jai Shri Ram. We will take the name of the Lord. But my dear friends, my dear devotees, that will never happen. Whatever we practice most of our lives at the time of death, that is what our consciousness will be. And that is the reason our Vedic Sanatan Dharma is so scientific, that they know, our forefathers knew, they were mostly devotees. And that is the reason they named all their children in the name of a devotee or in the name of the Lord. Somebody's name was Krishna, somebody's name was Radha, somebody's name was Ramesh, somebody's name was Suresh, somebody's name was Mahesh, etc. Why? Because at the time of death, let's say the father or the grandfather, they are dying and say, Beta Mahesh, please take care of your family. Mahesh, Suresh, whatever the name is, and he leaves the body. So knowingly or unknowingly, he has taken the name of the Lord. Suresh means Suro ka Ishwar. Suro means all Devi Devtas Ishwar is Sri Krishna. Ramesh is Rama's Ishwar. Just to give you a couple meanings of the name. Rama means Lakshmi Devi. Lakshmi Devi's Ishwar is Narayan. So whether you take the name knowingly or unknowingly, there is a prasanga in Srimad Bhagavatam of Ajamil, where Ajamil was a Brahmin who was very good, but somehow the other, young Brahmin, when he went to the market to get some fruits and flowers, he came, on the way back home, he saw one prostitute and he got attracted to her. To make a long story short, and he never went home. And then he started staying with the prostitute, and he stayed with her most of his life until he was 80 years, and he got 10 children. And at that age of 80, he begot one son. So somehow or the other, and to maintain his relationship with the prostitute, he had to go out looting, do all the wrong things, and he committed a lot of sins. Right? So one day he was out looting, and then his wife came to know that she is going to get a boy because some sadhus had come and they blessed her and said, please name this boy Narayana. And when she named the boy Narayana, one time what happened is about 80 years old, very old, he's lying on the deathbed and suddenly he sees the Yamdutas coming. So it is said that depending on what our lives have been, if we have committed a very sinful life, if it outweighs the pious activities, at the time of death, the Yamdutas come from Yamloka. And only the person who is dying can see them. Even though there might be other people in that room, they won't see it. And he got extremely, very, very scared. And he saw their fierce coal-like eyes and copper-like wire hair and huge. And their nostrils were like caves in their noses. And they had come with a rope to grab the soul, to tie the soul, to arrest the soul and take them to some Yamanpuri, the headquarters of Yamraj. So I told you the headquarters of Lord Indra is Amravati, and the headquarters of Yamraj is some Yamanpuri. That is the name in Patal Lok. So at that time he got scared, and he had this little boy Narayan playing on the floor. He was crawling. And suddenly he said, Narayan! He screamed the name because he was scared looking at the Yamdutas. And Yamdutas was just about to catch the soul, take it out of his body and take him by whipping him all along the way to for judgment in front of Yamdut. Immediately, 4 wonderful, beautiful beings from Vaikuntha came, the Vishnu Dutas, and says, now, Yamdutas, you have no jurisdiction over this soul. So they said, what? You seem to be so gentlemanly people. You should know dharma. You should know the law. You know, I have a long list of his sinful activities of Ajamil, what he has done. You know, and how can you say you're stopping us from doing our duty? You know, we are the sevaks of Yamraj. Do you know who Yamraj is? He says, yes. So go back to Yamraj and ask them. Ask Yamraj why we stopped you. We are stopping you because he called the name of Narayan. And at the time of death, he called the name of Narayan. He called the name of the Lord. So he's excused. And we are here to take him back home, back to Godhead. So he said, no, but sir, my dear sir, he called out to his son Narayan. He didn't call out to the Lord Narayan. He said, doesn't matter. So it is said in that slokas there's a nice, that then there is a very powerful medicine. Whether you know the chemical composition or not, one may be a very good doctor and one may be somebody who is completely illiterate. And if that person has fever and the doctor has fever and they pop a Tylenol, the Tylenol is going to do the job. So the holy name of the Lord is so powerful. And that is the reason we should always chant the holy names of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So this is so many wonderful leelas are coming in. We were talking about Mahamaya, Yogamaya, and I'm sure Krishna is so pleased we are describing the seva of his sister. And therefore, like that, she escapes, and we know that in Golok, in Vrindavan, Krishna Nandan, Vasudev Krishna merges into Nandan, and he performs his pastimes in the sweet land of Vraj, where nobody knows that he is the Supreme Lord, and nobody cares to know that he is the Supreme Lord. We love you because you are so sweet, Krishna. You are so naughty, Krishna. We just love you for the sake of our love. And because you love us, oh Krishna, we love you. There is no exchange that you give us this and we will give you this. No business. Like Prahlad Maharaj, when Nrsimhadev Bhagwan was so pleased after killing his father Hiranyakashipu, he said, I am so pleased with your devotion. Nrsimhadev Bhagwan said, ask me something. I can grant you a boon. I can grant you whatever you want. So Prahlad said, oh my Lord Nrsimhadev, I don't need anything from you. I am not a business person that I will do some vyapar by doing bhakti and then I will ask something in exchange. See, this is pure bhakti. These are the examples that we have to imbibe in our lives. What are we praying when we are standing in front of Radha Vrindavan Chandra, when we are standing in front of their lordships? What are we asking? According to these pure Vaishnavas like Prahlad Maharaj and our acharyas, they never ask for anything material. The only thing that you can ask, or that is recommended, is ask for pure bhakti. How can I love you? How can I shower my love on you? What can I give you? Not what you give us. Like a material example would be John F. Kennedy. Ask not what the country can do for you, what you can do for your country. So ask not what God can do for you, but what can you do for God? That is Vrajbhav. And that is the relationship we can obtain. We are fortunate to be in this movement of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu under the line and the guidance of His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. So we can always, at the time of death, we can remember Narayana, we can remember Lord Ramachandra. It's good, but that will take us to Vaikuntha. That will take us to Ayodhya. But there, we have full knowledge that Lord Ramachandra is the Supreme Lord. There, you cannot play with Lord Ramachandra. You cannot take a half-eaten laddu from Lord Ramachandra's plate. When Shabri tried to give the half-eaten berries, Lakshman got angry. He said, what are you doing? You know who he is? He's the Vaikuntha Adhipati. How dare you do that? You're crossing the line. But of course, Lord Ramachandra made that one particular exception for Shabri. Otherwise, if you see with the coward boys, what happens when Krishna is all in, they're all sitting in a picnic in the middle of the day. At that time, they bring their lunches, the boys, and then Madhumangal loves laddu. So he grabs all the laddus and starts eating them. And then Krishna says, you have finished everything. And he grabs the last laddu, half eaten from his mouth, Madhumangal's mouth, and he eats it. So this is the loving reciprocation that you can find in Vrindavan love. You cannot do that to Lord Ramachandra, you cannot do that Lord Narayana or any of the avatars. That will be crossing the line. So this is the pure prema of Raj that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has brought. Thank you all very much. I hope you all enjoy your Janmashtami, the second Janmashtami that we are celebrating in New Vrindavan Dham. I wanted to say so much more. There's so much. It is Hari Katha Hari. What is that? Hari Leela Hari Katha Ananta. So it is like this. Rup Goswami says, and even Ananta Shesh, Balram says, that even if I have thousands and millions of ears and millions of mouths, I am not sufficient to describe the glories of Sri Krishna, and not sufficient enough to hear the glories of Sri Krishna. So this is what it is. Tava katham ritam tapta jivanam kavi viriditam kalma shapam shravana mangalam srimadaatatam bhuvi grinanti je bhuri dajana. Gopi Geet in the 10th canto. So thank you very much. So now I think in couple minutes, the next part of the program is Sandhya Aarti. Hare Krishna. So everybody is requested to get up when the Pujari blows the conch shell. The ladies on that side and the gents on one side, leaving some room in between. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki, Janmashtami Mahautsav ki, Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari Bol. Srila Prabhupada Gurudev.